For 2021, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Roy, is now recognized for 60 minutes as a designee of the minority leader.
I thank the Speaker. I'm fascinated to learn that I serve in the United States House of Free Stuff, because that's what I've been hearing nonstop this entire week. There's an unlimited supply of money and resources, apparently, an unlimited supply of dollars that we can continue to print while devastating our economy, devastating the American dollar, and transforming our society by encouraging Americans to believe that there's a free lunch. And there ain't no free lunch. My wife is the product of a single mom growing up in Texas. Her mom worked multiple jobs to send her to college. She worked hard to be able to go to college. She left with $70-something thousand of student loans despite going to 2 top public universities in the state of Texas. Get repaid because she went there with a free will. She went there and made a choice. She could have chosen a different path. She chose to take the debt. I did the same thing when I went to law school at the University of Texas. I might not have chosen to go to law school if the loans hadn't been available, and that might be fine. What's the fundamental problem? Why has the cost of education skyrocketed in my lifetime at an inflation rate multiple times over virtually every other product and service in this country except for health care? Why is it up something like 3,000%? Is it perhaps because we're subsidizing the holy heck out of it? Just thinking perhaps that there might be a correlation to the availability, massive widespread availability of subsidized student loans, the massive subsidization of K through 12 education and higher ed? Do we think there might be a correlation to why the costs have skyrocketed so much? But no. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle now walk in here and say, we don't want to, we're not the party of big spenders. We got a chart here with $1.7 trillion on it with another chart saying cancel student debt. Who's paying for that? Does anybody in this body give a rat's rear end about who's paying for anything at all? No. Oh no, then they'll come out here and say $3 trillion of tax cuts. They don't care about economic growth and opportunity, but fine. Why don't we actually have a conversation about spending and taxes? No, we don't do that. We just spend money.
Nobody's there to listen to him, by the way, because they know he's gonna speak the truth.
We don't have. That's what we did today in the continuing resolution to keep this government running. Oh my gosh, panic ensues if you dare question whether or not the government must be funded Saturday morning at 12:01 in the morning. What will the American people do? How will they function if the United States House of Free Stuff isn't doling out free stuff? No one's in this chamber, of course, just reminding the American people how this place doesn't work. We're now.
By the way, China closing their borders, that means nothing will be imported to United States or Europe. So they're prepping for war. They're gonna start with a small one probably, just to see the reaction, and then we'll keep going from there, but we'll see what happens.
On 5.5 straight years of no amendments being offered on the floor of this august chamber, I'd just like to remind the American people every once in a while that what they saw about how a bill becomes a law is a complete fraud. See, there's a handful of people who get into a room and they decide what you're going to vote on.
Now, this guy have no idea, together with the whole world, of course, that the whole thing is being running for millions of years here, and it's all set up, and end up the same way on the end.
And the Speaker knows it's true, and my colleagues on the other side of the aisle know it's true, and my colleagues on this side of the aisle know it's true, because they did it when they were in the majority just as much as my colleagues on the other side of the aisle did it when they were in the majority. We get a massive bill dropped on our desk and we say, take it or leave it. Go offer an amendment in rules, they say. Never taken, never accepted. Always pre-chosen, always pre-gamed.
This is how it starts. They're gonna, little by little start ignoring you more and more and more. And, they are prepping all kind of stuff when if you try to rise. Plus, they got more advanced weapons than guns and rifles and bullets. You gotta know that. Probably gonna be dead before even see the enemy.
Out. This is deliberation and debate. This is the constitutional order. What value is there for an election certificate if you can't use it? You come to the floor and you want to offer an amendment in good faith to try to make a piece of legislation better, and you can't do it. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 people max who decide everything that goes on in this chamber in all of their infinite wisdom. And then we come down and we look at the board and it's party line votes, and then it's walk out on the steps and go give a speech and go to the press and go on Twitter and go on Facebook.
Yeah, what you don't know also is everybody who signed up with the forces that are taking over right now. They knew what's gonna happen. They know all this, and they've been promised, better lives for their children and all the other stuff that may never happen. But these guys bought the lie, and now they're going downhill.
And go talk about why you're voting no or yes. That's what we're relegated to in the United States House of free stuff. But today we just voted to extend the funding of government with a continuing resolution, which is going to barrel us towards $1 trillion deficit this year, give or take. Who knows? Does it matter? Does anybody know what the difference is between $1 trillion or 1.2 trillion? Does anybody know the difference between $29 trillion of debt or $30 trillion of debt? Nobody knows or cares in this chamber. Literally not a lick. We never talk about it. And then each side comes down on the floor and offers more spending for whatever their priority is. Defense, non-defense, mandatory spending, non-mandatory spending. If the unbelievably terrible circumstance occurred at Friday night at midnight of this government daring to pause, do the American people know that about 82% of it is on autopilot with mandatory spending? I mean, does that matter when you walk out?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. American people usually don't know nothing. They start noticing now when it's already a little bit late for that.
The gaggle reporters come up, with bated breath. Oh no, there might be a government shutdown. It always gets paid back. 82% of it keeps running.
I'm preparing something to share.
The States of America. We never sit down like a family or a small business, roll our sleeves up and decide how to spend money. Do you imagine if we actually had to adhere to a budget like any business or American family, and we actually had to sit down, Madam Speaker, at that table and not leave this chamber until we said our budget is $3 trillion or $4 trillion, whatever it is.
What this guy suggesting will never happen. Okay, the whole thing with the economy and all that is just to keep people entertained until the right quotes are met. So after that, the harvest comes. Okay, they're not careful after that. Now this guy wonder why is no after that, because he don't know there is no after that. Okay, he'll start notice it. He'll start getting the picture, and that's it. So from there, it's gonna be hard to come back, even if it's, somehow there was no wars and all the other stuff. It will be hard to come back in, in the running economy that the United States once was before the bankers destroyed from inside out. It was their plan all along. And but before they destroy, they want to build weapons and all the other stuff, to keep going their military experiments and testings before the show is over, and they gotta move to another probably scenario here. So yeah, that's it. The Russians already putting like rockets and all this stuff around, and provoking concerns what they're gonna do, and they probably gonna invade Ukraine. And then Biden already laughing with Putin. They probably talk about Biden not to engage his business there. So Putin with that move will show everybody that nobody can mess with him, because that's why he's been building all this power all the time. Now, Russia is not democracy. Okay, it's a communist country. They're not gonna, they're not gonna let go Ukraine and whatever the government there is running against them. If they start something, it will be on their head. But United States shouldn't go there, try to help, because you get involved, and from there, from a totally different problem that's between Ukraine and Russia, is gonna be between Russia and United States. Again, we're going back to the disturbing the pot and all the other stuff. So it's all go around that point. So you can see this guy from Texas. He already tell you pretty much the ugly picture that's coming here. So everybody gotta start, local communities talk about it and prepare, and farming and whatever, get things done so you can cross over, because if war started, you'll be in conditions that it'll be hard to make it, especially with kids and old people. And those idiots know all these things, okay? They know all that, but they're from anyway. So yeah, that's for now.